What's going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video, and I'm deep out in Brooklyn at the last stop of the L train. I'm in a neighborhood I've been wanting to explore, which is Canarsie. So I don't really know much about the neighborhood. I just heard about bad reputations, but I know there's much more to the neighborhood. I know there's a nice pier, a lot of residential areas. They also got the Pop Smoke mural, so I'm gonna walk around here to see what else is going on. So without further ado, join me. There's over here's Walkaway Parkway, goes all the way towards the pier. Then I'm gonna make it towards a block or two ahead of me, which would be Flatlands Avenue. So it turns out I'm going the wrong way, so I gotta go this way and make it towards Flatlands Avenue to see what's going on. But meanwhile, I can enjoy, the views over here. So it's just mostly regular around here. So this is like the busy area of Canarsie, right when you get off of the L train and the last stop in Rockaway. So we're gonna keep going ahead a few more blocks. Yeah, it's a lot of noise out here. So here they got a couple of banners. There's a mural ahead of me that says "Welcome to Canarsie." Here you'll see a lot of business that you'll see in other areas. Some of these parts reminded me a little bit of Brownsville. But Brownsville's only a few stops away from here, Sutter Avenue and L train. So kind of bringing me back that vibe. And they got business on the other side, like it's a Haitian joint. And then I wonder what's going on once I got off the subway train. Ambulance, fire trucks, or maybe there was a fire or something somewhere around here. There's a church over here. This is literally my first impression of Canarsie, but I know there's much more to the neighborhood. Here's a Holy Family Roman Catholic Church. So I guess it serves the community of Canarsie right here. And this is Flatlands Avenue, and it goes all the way towards the Flatlands neighborhood. And it merges with Kings Highway that passes all the way through Midwood. I'm gonna walk around here and detour in some of the streets to see how it changed. Something I noticed is super residential out here. Like I've been noticing a lot of houses, a lot of trees, and then the L train, it's like in the northern tip of the neighborhood, then the rest of the neighborhood is just residential. So to get around is you gotta take a bus, or either if you have a bike or an e-scooter or whatever. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be walking a lot. And today is actually really hot, so wish me luck. So not much going on over here. Then the streets are labeled in order of numbers. I'll probably make a detour in some of this street to see what are the vibes, comparing to the main avenues. I think the highlight of this exploration is going to be Canarsie Park and the pier. That's going to be the grand finale. So I'm noticing a lot of West Indian restaurants like Haitian, Trini, Jamaican. So here's an example how do some of the regular streets in Canarsie looks like. But I think if I go by the park, it gets actually even nicer. See houses like this filled with trees. I ain't gonna lie, look at the oak trees. But like I said, I'm not gonna lie, it feels like kind of like a small town vibe. Or like if you're in a town or a city in the South, like the way how the structure of houses are designed, it looks pretty different. And then the way how you look at this little church, like we're literally in Brooklyn, New York, but like I say, it feels like if you're like in a small, quiet town, like the vibe. Like all the busyness and craziness is happening by the train, but once you get off, it's just mostly like townhouses, residential area, so yeah, pretty cool. The only thing is that the commute is a little bit, isolated from the rest of Brooklyn. You have an idea? Yes, I think most of the neighborhood looks like this. I'm just gonna keep walking forward, see if I can find something interesting. But so far, it's pretty cool. I just wish there was like more main streets with more options of restaurants and stuff. But maybe it's good that it stays like this, like pretty authentic. Just like Queens, Brooklyn is really huge. It's actually the most populous borough in New York City, and a lot of diversity here. Like you get people from all over that live out here. So it's a little competition for me between Brooklyn and Queens, like which is my favorite borough. But I tell you, both of these boroughs and a lot of boroughs in New York City, the 5 boroughs, they all have like their unique character. So yeah, but I'm glad that I made my way down here to Canarsie. Making a detour here to show you this street. This street is actually different from the other street that I was filming, like the houses. Like, look at the houses here. They're made like out of brick. If I turn to my left, you're gonna see how nice and big these houses are. Seems like it's a multi-family house. Let me see if I can cross the street. Oh, look how big it is. This one looks like it's 2 in 1, or maybe they got like a couple of units in the inside. So, and I like how it has a lot of trees. In this area that I'm walking is Glenwood Road. It's like a little local park across the street. Like I said, it's mostly houses. Then they got like this bodega in the corner, Canarsie Fish and Chips. Hey, look at it, it's cool. Must be good. Fish and chips. I wonder how it tastes over here, but I just ate. There are people buying, so that's how you know a spot is good. Like even people park their car and they get off and they go inside the establishment. So I guess it's like a takeout joint. And then I think this is like a school park over here across the street. So far, I gotta say, this is a really chill neighborhood, you know. I'm liking it so far. Look at the streets, it keeps going, and look how peaceful it is, you know. Like a lot of people, I think over here, they own a car too, so it helps them get around. I'm hearing the absence of people, so it sounds like it's mostly like a West Indian community over here. I'm gonna make it back to Flatland Avenue. But yeah, that's a really good vibe. It's also bringing me a little bit of memories. Reminds me a little bit of Richmond Hill and Ozone Park, like the way how the houses are designed. It looks a little bit like that complex right there. So, and here you got some nice looking houses and then tree-lined streets ahead of me. I love when the sky is blue, but like I say, it's a little bit hotter, but obviously, you know, it's summertime, so this is actually pretty normal out here. Then look at this house here, it looks pretty cool. It's like an orange color. I like it, and then there's like, wow, a lot of Mercedes in the inside. So yeah, like I said, based on my observation, it seems like a lot of people, they not only they have the house, but they own a car over here, you know. Okay, there's not really, it's only like one stop, a subway train, then there's just, you need a bus to get around. Walking here, it makes it feel like if you're in the suburbs. But keep in mind, Brooklyn, just like Queens, have a lot of residential areas that have like nice houses that makes it feel like, hey, I'm in Jersey, Long Island, or Connecticut. Especially if you go around Flatbush, you got an area that's like what you used to see in New York City, but then if you go a little bit more further, they got some beautiful houses with tree-lined streets. So I'm kind of feeling that sensation right here in Canarsie. Not much going on over here, but I think if I head towards 82nd Street and Flatlands Avenue, that's where the Pop Smoke mural is. Should be by Delhi, but I think there's also like more establishments ahead of me. So if you go in the other side of Flatlands, I think that's where it actually gets nicer, like the houses and the roads are paved. So I'm probably gonna walk ahead and then towards 80th Street, I'll make my left. And there are some business here, but it's just mostly fast food chain. Dunkin' Donuts right here, Popeyes right here, so you know, you can literally get this all over. Like I said, with this side, it's like a lot of nice houses and beautiful streets. So after we check out the mural, we're gonna start hitting just regular streets out here. And this side's a little bit busy over here, you know, but just nothing crazy, you know, just like standard establishments that you get in many other neighborhoods out here. And then ahead of me is 82nd Street. So this is where they got the Pop Smoke mural right here. I mean, the sun is kind of not letting me see it clearly, but this is it right here. Nice. And you can see the street, how beautiful it is. And there's another one right here. T-Dot. It's actually pretty dope. And as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of street art, so I always admire the hard work that the artists they put, you know, in neighborhoods and business out here, so it's really cool. I made it to the other side. I gotta tell you, this side over here is beautiful. There's actually like a school over here, but it's actually a local park open here, and then the street is filled up with trees. I can literally smell like the leaves of the trees, and it's beautiful. And then, of course, you got an apartment complex over here that's pretty nice. This is what you get ahead of me. Look at this beautiful residential units. It's like multi-level units, like a pretty long building. They're not brownstones, but they're pretty nice to look at. And then they got, you know, literally covering trees. So I'm gonna assume that in the fall season, around October, November, it must be really nice to walk around here, you know. Yeah, it's just pretty nice, you know, it's a residential unit. And then it just keeps going forward, you know. Like I said, this is actually a really big neighborhood. So you just gotta know where you wanna go. And the roads is well paved, and they have a speed bump here, so that way people don't be rushing. I'm in love with the street. Not gonna lie, even some of the streets are kind of giving me a vibe of some of the regular neighborhoods in Montreal, Canada. Like they look like this, you know, like nice streets with trees, beautiful, nice looking apartments. So it kind of resembles a little bit of that. Then you got Avenue J, Avenue L ahead. So look at this, I'm really loving this street so far. Nice looking intersection right here. And they got the stop sign. What I haven't noticed is designated bike lanes. But I mean, the streets are pretty wide, so I guess you can bike easily, you know, around the corners carefully, you know, and then the people, they seem to be polite when they drive around here. Like I said, it's super residential, mostly hard-working people, family, people that live around this neighborhood. See, there's a neighborhood with backyard and parking. So yeah, this is really nice, you know. I heard a lot of my people that live here and they told me to check out Canarsie, so I'm glad that I came. We got more going on. And like I say, this neighborhood doesn't really get covered much. The only thing that I see in the news about this neighborhood is just the bad part, but it's actually a really good neighborhood. And just like any other place, there's good and bad, but there's so much good things happening around here in this neighborhood. Now I'm just making a detour around here. Probably gonna head towards 83rd Street and then start making it all the way down towards Canarsie Park and the pier to see what's going on. I'm just worried about going back to the train station. I don't know if I'll take a bus or just walk it all the way up. It's a little bit far of a walk, but I don't mind it at all. You know, I'm loving the streets out here. This is 82nd Street. You can see how beautiful the sky is and how the apartments is. It looks like literally like a same building all connected together, but it's divided by units. Gonna do one more block to see if it's any different from this one right here. But they do a good job to maintain this neighborhood pretty nice. Like I mentioned, so far you walk around here, the streets are pretty impeccable. No litter over here comparing to other neighborhoods, but this neighborhood is pretty nice and organized. Then 83rd Street is right here, so I'm gonna make my right and see what's happening around here. There's a school over here too. And they got a couple of street art, you know, like I said, a lot of schools in New York, during the wall, they paint like mural and street art, so that's something that's really interesting. Also, another thing that sucks is I took a bottle of water in my house and I put it in the freezer to froze so I could bring it out here. Come here and I forgot. I knew I was gonna forget it. Now I need to go somewhere and buy water because of this heat. You know, this heat over here is literally no joke. And look at this residential units, how beautiful it is. And then if you cross the street, it's actually even nicer. Look at this over here, see? Got like their front yard, patio, and division. There's a neighborhood in the Bronx that's called Morris Park, and they have units that looks just like this. Wow, I gotta say, it feels lovely walking out here in neighborhoods like this. So, like I said in my previous videos, a lot of people, when they think about New York City, they think about just high-rise buildings, skyscrapers, you know, apartment complexes, but you could get a lot of beautiful neighborhoods like this. Residential units, you know, houses and stuff that makes it feel like if you're in another state or somewhere else. So that's one of the beauties about this city, the diversity and everything that it has to offer out here. And it keeps going. It's like literally the whole building takes up the whole block, but then it's divided by, you know, houses or residential unit. The same applies, you know, in both directions of the road. So I like it so far. Then this is 84th Street. Wow, look at this beauty out here. This is how a lot of neighborhoods should be, you know, with trees. That way, you know, it preserves the environment and probably helps out a little bit with the weather. It's like every street that you walk around here is pretty beautiful to look at. So don't judge Canarsie just by the train station area. Just walk a little bit deeper and you'll find the area that looks just like this. Then it seems like it's a type of neighborhood where the community, you know, they know each other, they look out for each other. And also, you know, everybody go on with their daily lives, you know. They don't get bothered by anything else that goes a motorbike that's making up noise. But yeah, I love it out here. You can see how I'm literally surrounded by trees, like an oasis in the middle of the city. So yeah, Avenue L, I think is ahead of me, so I'm probably gonna make it towards 86th Street, and 86th Street will take me straight towards Canarsie Park. And that should be a huge park. The pier should be around there, and then there should be the waterfront. So I think that's a perfect spot for me to do my grand finale. Like I got it wrong, is actually Avenue M right here. Also, another thing I noticed, a lot of streets over here, they have like a sidewalk that goes by, and then there's a parking lot behind the residential units. I can see in the sample over here. I'm not gonna go inside it because it's kind of like a private property, but look. So they got the alleyways, and then if you own a car, you can literally just park your car right there. So that's something that's really cool. And that's why I mentioned, I think a lot of people here, they own a car. So this is another neighborhood that would have been cool for me to bring my bike, because everything is like so isolated and further distance. So, like I said, the roads are well paved, so biking would be a piece of cake for me right here. That's okay, you know, I'm taking it little by little, and I love walking. So this is 86th Street. If I walk straight, it'll take me straight towards the park and the waterfront. So hopefully there's a breeze over that way. Look how nice this is. One block down should be the famous park. So keep in mind, this is actually my first time. Wow, see, they really paved this road over here. This is actually my first time in the park, and actually in the neighborhood. So I'm really excited to check out this park. You guys know I'm a fan of local parks, but I think this park should be special because it's literally by the waterfront. I think they got also a couple of baseball fields based on what I see on the map, but there's only one way to find out, which is being underground, boots underground. Look how the street is, and like I say, easy to park if you own a car, because a lot of these houses, they have their own designated park. So it's like 3-story apartment units. One building long, but it has different units divided together. Gotta tell you, thank God for the trees, because that literally helped me out with this heat. Imagine there was no trees, I'd probably be cooking out here in the sun. But I'm seeing the park ahead of me, and so far it's looking really gorgeous. I just gotta figure, how do I get in the park? Well, I can cross the street here. I see the entrance right there. So now I made it out here to the park, and so far it's really cool and chill. I see people just chill, eat, barbecuing around. There's also an area where we could play like volleyball, but I'm gonna make it all the way towards the other side and see if I can make it towards the pier by the waterfront to see like what are the vibes over there. So based on what I've been seeing in the map, you know, the park actually looks pretty massive, you know, but like I said, it's a big neighborhood, but so far everything is pretty nice and chill. So you can see the greenery over here. Then you got some restrooms over there ahead of me. There must be restrooms in the other side too, but look, surrounded by nature out here. And here you see more of the park. So pretty peaceful. They got baseball field, but it's not really much people playing. Maybe at a certain time they come, or maybe during the weekend they might come out. There's another baseball field over this way, or softball field, either way. But good thing we got the trees, because this helps out with the breeze. I think if I walk straight here, it takes me into a residential street too, so I'm gonna find out. So here I am in the other side of the park, and over here, they got some houses. It's like duplex houses. It's like one house, but it's 2 houses in one. So it looks really cool. See right here, the divider, see? 2 houses in one. I'm gonna make it to 93rd Street and then make it right. And it should combine me with the pier. And hopefully there should be a nice view of the waterfront. And this way is 93rd Street. You can see how nice it is. So they got a lot of units. I think we are close to Bell Parkway too. Bell Parkway literally passes like right next to the neighborhood. And then usually on the other side of Bell Parkway, there's like a waterfront that goes all the way, I think bordering the Queens area. And also it passes by Bay Ridge. So it's mostly duplex houses with the front yard patio, the trees, and the well-paved sidewalks. So here's Rockaway Parkway, and if I make a right, it passes under Bell Parkway, and that should be the pier where the waterfront is. So I'm very excited to check it out. So it's been an awesome evening out here, really nice neighborhood that we got going on here in Brooklyn. So here I'm making it to the pier, and I'll tell you, it literally feels like you're entering another world right here. I also see like other lands ahead of me. I don't know if it's some parts of Queens over here, because we're like in the borderline of Queens. I think on the other side is Howard Beach. But yeah, I also see a bike lane over here, so next time I'll just bring my bike. So this is the pier right here. And then you see some land ahead of me, and that's part of Queens, New York. Like the Rockaway Beach, you know. The A train passes around there, and then here they have they got like a pretty massive parking lot over here. There's people that's chilling, hanging out over here. So I'm just gonna go around towards the other side. Wow. I tell you, like, it feels like you're somewhere else, but this is Brooklyn, New York. And I love the smell of the waterfront and the sea. It's just different. Then you see like the birds flying. Wow. This is a beautiful area. I'll show you right here. I can even see the airplanes on the other side flying, because JFK Airport is literally not too far from here, you know. Like I said, we're literally like at the borderline of Queens, New York. So this is Atlantic Ocean. And then over there at the end, I can literally see the tower of John F. Kennedy International Airport and the blue sky, which is actually awesome. So pretty busy out here at the pier. You see everybody fishing. So I think this is the happening spot where everybody in the area hangs out. So it's a really chill pier, you know, the people are so chill. I even see a beach to my right side. Even people are getting in the water. So I think the name of that beach is Canarsie Beach East. I wouldn't go in that water, you know. I prefer going in the beach by the Caribbean or Southeast Asia, but people still go in it. But I think this is gonna be a perfect spot for me to wrap up the video out here in Canarsie by the pier. Awesome neighborhood, you know, pretty residential, you know, and then the pier is the grand finale. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Be safe out there, everybody. God bless y'all, and peace.